الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى.
الحمد لله نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما هذه الحياة الدنيا إلا لعب وله وإن الدار الآخرة لهي الحيوان. عن أبي هريرة رضي الله تعالى عنه قال قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم: سبعة يذلهم الله في ظله يوم لا ظل إلا ظله: إمام عادل، وشاب نشأ في عبادة الله تعالى، ورجل قلبه معلق في المساجد، ورجلان تحابا في الله اجتمع عليه وتفرق عليه، ورجل دعته امرأة ذات منصب وجمال فقال إني أخاف الله، ورجل تصدق بصدقة فأخفاها حتى لا تعلم شماله ما تنفق يمينه، ورجل ذكر الله خاليا ففاضت عيناه. متفق عليه. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني علما رب زدني عملا رب زدني عملا رب زدني عملا. My dear respected elders, brothers and sisters who are listening to my speech, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Last 2 weeks, I've read a hadith in front of you. I'm trying to do a translation of the hadith and a bit explanation. Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala anhu says, أن رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم قال, that Abu Hurairah radiyallahu ta'ala says that Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam said, سبعة يذلهم الله في ظل يوم لا ظل إلا ظله. The 7 categories of people will be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, meaning in the shade of the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, on that day which there will be no other shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The first category, Imamun Adil. Imamun Adil means the just ruler. Whoever is in the position that they're ruling, they're just with their subject. Either is a king, president, prime minister, or a teacher or head teacher, anyone who's in a position of ruling. Nabi alayhi salatu wasalam say, kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati. That every one of you are a shepherd, and you'll be asked about your flock. This is what this hadith means too. If they're just with their subjects, if they're just with everyone, they will be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Number 1 category. Number 2 category is Shabun Nasha fi ibadatillah. A youngster who's grown up in worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mean from a young age he's worshipping or she's worshipping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and saved herself from sins. They're obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from a young age. What's the young age? Ulama has written, Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullah alayhi says, until 40 you are a youth, young. From 40 to 50 you're in the middle. Then after 50 burapa starts. Yeah? So, and it means Islamic. Yeah? So anyway, this age until the age of 40, from before the age of 40, worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I explained that last 2 weeks. Number 3, وَرَجُلٌ قَلْبُهُ مُعَلَّقٌ فِي الْمَسَاجِدِ. A person whose heart is attached to the masjid, comes in the morning, reads salat, next time he's waiting for Zohr, then for Zohr to Asr, Asr to Maghrib, Isha. That's all he has. That he does this worldly thing. It's not saying don't do your worldly thing. Carry on with your worldly life. But have the ta'alluq and attachment with the masjid. This is what Rasulullah says. That person who has attachment with the masjid for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he'll be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when there will be no shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَرَجُلَانِ تَحَابَّا فِي اللَّهِ اجْتَمَعَ عَلَيْهِ وَتَفَرَّقَا عَلَيْهِ. Next one is that person, two people, or more than two people, or two brothers or two sisters, that they have the ta'alluq, attachment for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever they gather together, they gather for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever they attach together, they attach for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever they detach from each other, they detach for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So their ta'alluq, their relationship is just for Allah. Just for Allah. Even if we have the relationship, a ta'alluq, attachment with a kafir, and we have the intention that this person could become a Muslim, then there is sawab in that too. But the intention has to be right there. So Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that, I explained this last week, but I just give you a hint again, that the ta'alluq and relationship should be for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not as a badal and as a revenge. Now if I get ill, only those people will come to ask about me if I've been by them. When I die, only those people will come to my janazah and my ta'ziyat and my thing for my grave and everything that I've been. If I haven't been, they won't come. That means that's for badal, not for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We should be there for each other. We have to be there for each other for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even though if that person has no relationship with us, even though the person is a person that does not socialize with us. But for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when we hear that there's a Muslim person in distress, we should be there. No matter whatever the situation is. That's what Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. Number 5, وَرَجُلٌ دَعَتْهُ إِمْرَأَةٌ ذَاتُ مَنْصَبٍ وَجَمَالٍ فَقَالَ إِنِّي أَخَافُ اللَّهِ. A person, a beautiful girl which has a high genealogy, high status, she calls him, oh, beautiful boy calls the girl. A boy calls the girl, or the girl calls the boy. That's what he means. Says, let's commit zina, fornication, adultery. That person, that male or female, says, Inni akhafullah, I fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, because he or she's got a chance to commit a sin, a zina, a sin, but they, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, say, Inni akhafullah, I fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I gave you an example of Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam, what Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam done. And not just Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam is mentioned in Quran Kareem, and there's other stories mentioned in the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Other story mentioned in the Salaf Salihin. It will take too long for me to cover all them. But remember, for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, to leave a haram relationship. If we leave the haram relationship for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we will be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّهُ. When on that day there will be no other shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, my youngsters, if there will be a haram opportunity for us, for you, for us, for all of us. But remember, if we indulge in them haram opportunity, we will commit sins. And also, if we save ourselves from them haram opportunity and fear from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you be in the shade of the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, when there will be no other shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I said this last week, but I say again too, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made nikah very easy. Very easy. And we are running away from nikah. What is nikah? Ijab and qabul. One proposes, the other accepts. 2 witnesses. That's all nikah is. And the mahar, shari mahar is 10 dirham, that's about 25 pounds. So how hard is it to do each? One does the proposal, the other does what? The other accepts. And when that is done in front of two witnesses, as long as they're not married and they're not mahram, nikah is done. That's all it is. In 25 pounds, your nikah could be done. That's how it is. Ijaba Qabul. You don't need any horse. You don't need any limousine. You don't even need the imam. You don't need the imam either. For barakat, he reads the khutbah. It's sunnat for the imam to read the khutbah. It's sunnat, it's not farz. If you call the imam, imam will come. Sunnat imam, even if you call the imam, it costs you less than what you are doing in nowadays. Nikah is very simple. 2 seconds. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said to Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, get married with, you ready to get married with Fatima? He said yes. So all done, nikah done, and after Maghrib or at night, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought Fatima radiallahu ta'ala anha himself to the house of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. Could we do that? In our, the culture I'm from, that will cut my nose. That's our culture, isn't it? Culture, throw the culture down the drain. Look at the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Everything is simple. We don't want to go to the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We want to keep the society happy. We want to keep the culture happy. And zina is general. We don't care about zina. And the sin is because of us. Simple nikah is very simple. Keep it simple. And get your children married. And the youngsters, get married. Why are you not getting married? This is, I'm going to speak on this, I'm going to do a topic on this inshallah ta'ala. Why not getting married? You need to get married. When you don't, what's the career? Ulama says, alright, people say that I need wealth. The wealth, today you're rich, tomorrow you're poor. When we were born with money? We were born totally nude, nothing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provided it from that time to this time, still will provide it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala provide. So career and wealth and all that and a stable job and all that is nothing. Nothing gets stable. You remember, I'm nearly 50 years old. I'll call it I'm 50 years old, all right? Half a century gone. I don't know how many seconds more I got. I have a stable wealth up to now. No one, even a millionaire, right? If you talk to a millionaire, he'll say, I need few more millions to, my goal I haven't passed my goal. Yeah? No one is every happy with their wealth. They say, more. Ask. There's people in this, they got 5, 6 houses in our congregation, but they still want more houses, more wealth, because there's never ending. So, get married quick as possible. Simple nikah. Nikah and just mahar. Ijaba Qabul. Get married straight away. And don't delay it. Don't indulge yourself in haram. Number 6. وَرَجُلٌ تَصَدَّقَ بِصَدَقَةِ اللَّهِ فَأَخْفَاهَا حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمَ شِمَالُهُ مَا تُنْفِقُ يَمِينُهُ. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says the 6th person, that person that gives charity, donation in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Gives charity, sadaqah, zakat, any kind of sadaqah he gives, any kind of zakat he gives, any kind of sadaqah, wajibah, ghair wajibah. The sadaqah, فَأَخْفَاهَا حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمَ شِمَالُهُ مَا تُنْفِقُ يَمِينُهُ. That he keeps it so secret, she keeps it so secret, not even حَتَّى لَا تَعْلَمَ شِمَالُهُ مَا تُنْفِقُ يَمِينُهُ. Not even the left hand finds out the right hand spend. It means that you give with respect. Every good thing you give with your what? Right hand. It means that whoever gives sadaqah keeps it secret. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Quran says, وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا مِنْ خَيْرٍ يُوَفَّ إِلَيْكُمْ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تُظْلَمُونَ وَمَا تُنْفِقُونَ إِلَّا ابْتِغَاءَ وَجْهِ اللَّهِ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that whatever you spend, give it in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, just for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever you spend, وَمَا تُنْفِقُوا فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ مِنْ خَيْرٍ فَلِأَنفُسِكُمْ. Whatever you spend in the way of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is for your benefit. When it's for our benefit, why do we have to take photos, take selfies, put it on Twitter, put it on our WhatsApp profile? Why do we have to put it on Facebook that this so-and-so person give that much donation to this so-and-so people, this so-and-so society? Why do we have to bring the media in? Why do we have to put it on the masjid forms that this person has paid this annual donation? When it is donation, it is for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It should be covered, it should not be exposed. If a person give anything for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not to be part of the community, to be the part or pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's a misunderstanding. People are saying, I will give to this masjid, so I'm the part of that and they cannot say anything to me. That's the wrong conception. You're not giving for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This community is here for now. You're going to be here for now. You're going to die. This community is going to die. When you die, what are you going to get later on? Nothing. Whatever you give for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and if you keep it secret, فَأَخْفَاهَا, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, فَأَخْفَاهَا, you keep it secret. On the day when there will be no shade except for the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you be under that shade. The last person, which is easy for everyone, وَرَجُلٌ ذَكَرَ اللَّهَ خَالِيًا فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَاهُ, a person who remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he's alone, sitting alone, he's no secure, no one's there, and he remembers Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَفَاضَتْ عَيْنَاهُ, his tears fall. And this we can all do. Sometime listen to Quran, and we sit down and think that these are the wording of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, kalamullah, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. When Quran hadith is read, when we read Quran ourselves, at night we wake up and make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For Father, everyone can do this. Everyone can do this. And every one of us, some of the categories we said you have to be young. Some of them, the first three, all right, not everyone can do. The rest, everyone can do. Give a bit sadaqah. Keep the sadaqah you give secret for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Whenever you remember, try to remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and look at the ni'mats Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you. Every ni'mat. وَإِن تَعُدُّوا نِعْمَةَ اللَّهِ لَا cry. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you're giving me so much ni'mats. Even when I'm doing shukr, when I'm thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I'm committed sin. Some kind of sin is committed. So we cannot fulfilling thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, cry. All these categories, if you look at them, Ibn Qayyim rahmatullah alayhi writes, these are indicated to sacrificing, controlling our desires. If we control, meaning if we control our desires for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give time to the masjid, give sadaqah for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from young age we do ibadat. And we keep ta'alluq with someone, attachment with someone just for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We mention Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and we cry for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We do all this. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam says, يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّ, that person will be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when there will be no shade. Remember, Quran says in Surah Al-Ma'arij, that day will have 50,000, that day will be long as 50,000 years. It's not going to be an easy day. Even the Anbiya alayhi salatu wasalam will say, Nafsi, 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 I'm just worried on myself. The only being that will be able to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to start the resurrection is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Everyone will be flooded in their own sweat. No one, يَوْمَ يَفِرُّ الْمَرْءُ مِنْ أَخِيهِ وَأُمِّهِ وَأَبِيهِ. If we want to be in the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, يَوْمَ لَا ظِلَّ إِلَّا ظِلُّ, we should try to get at least some of these categories. And inshallah ta'ala, we'll be saved on that day. That's not an easy day. It's a day which will come. And remember, we like denying death. Someone will die today, and we say, oh, that person, very nice, he died. Yeah, we say he died. He died because of this. But tomorrow, this announcement will be made for us too. Today or tomorrow, whatever. And we're not going to run away. No one can run away from death. And Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Man mata faqad qamat qiyamatuhu." Whoever dies, his qiyamah is started. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq and ability to act on the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which I've been explaining for the last 3 weeks. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give me first tawfiq to act on that than you. Whatever we read, whatever we say in the Jummah or any durus, these are all for us to learn and act on. And remember, this is the saying not of normal person. This is not the saying of Shakespeare. This is the saying of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is our creator. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is our Muslim, our Rasul. Wa akhir da'wana alhamdulillah.
الله لا إله إلا هو له الأسماء الحسنى